Hey love, so this is my long awaited video of my labor and delivery story. It's going to be kind of a long video, and I'm going to be talking about both of my deliveries. Go back to 2018. In 2018, my due date was actually March 6th, and I was 40 weeks. I tried everything I could to get my daughter out. I did what if you guys watch my past video, I was talking on the Webster technique. I was talking about just different things I did in order to go into labor with my daughter. So on the 11th at night, me, my mom, and my husband were playing dominoes, and I was trying to I was so focused on trying to win them and everything. I started to feel like period cramps, but they weren't anything like heavy or anything. So an hour passed by, nothing really was happening, and then it was like midnight. We all fell asleep. And then all of a sudden, I woke up from my sleep, and they were just not letting me, one after another. And I literally got in the shower. My husband was like, "Are you timing them?" I was like, "It hurts. I don't have the mind to be timing them." So I got in the shower, and then once I got in the shower, mind you, at this time I was living with my mom. She was like, why is the shower running at midnight? So she ran and saw me in there with contractions and was telling me are you okay? Should we need to go to the hospital? I was like, no, I don't want to go to the hospital until it's time. I just didn't want to be that girl to be sent home. She realized that my contractions were just getting closer and closer together, so she was like, you know what, let's not risk it, let's go. So I woke up my husband, we got everything in the car, and we went to the hospital. And then while I was at the hospital, they put the band on me and started to see that my contractions were back to back. I was getting nonstop contractions every 2 minutes. So then they checked me, and I was barely at a 3. And I was like, oh no, I can't do this. If I'm barely at a 3, this hurts. And so at the time, I didn't have the mindset of coping with the pain. It hurt, and I didn't want it to hurt. So I was like, just get this pain away from me. I can't do this. Just give me something. So then the nurse comes in, and she's like, oh, are you going to want to get the epidural? And at that time, I started overthinking it. I was like, should I get the epidural? Should I not? So I looked over at my husband, and I was like, should I get the epidural? And he was like, I don't know. It's up to you. If you really want the epidural, then get it. I wasn't honestly in so much pain to be give me the epidural. I'm dying right now. But the nurse told me, we have 2 or 3 C-sections scheduled for today. If you do not get it right now, we don't know what time the anesthesiologist is going to be able to come and give it to you. So if you don't get it now, you're not getting it, anymore. And so when she said that, I kind of got scared. Because I was like, am I able to do this? What if I'm not able to do this? And it's too late, and there comes a point where, I'm no longer able to get the epidural. So I was like, yeah, you know what? Just give me the epidural. And the anesthesiologist came in. By the time he came in, I think I was at a 4. And he gave me the epidural, and once the epidural came, once the epidural hit me, it was just amazing. I was on my phone. At this time, it was already 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I went to the hospital at 1. So I got the epidural, and then I want to say 30 minutes later, the nurse came back and checked me and was like, oh, you're at an 8 already. So what happened was, I was at an 8, and I had turned to the side, and then all of my epidural on my, I think it was my left or my right, I don't remember, but on one side it wore completely off. So I was at 8 and I was feeling all of the contractions, and I remember just grabbing onto the side rail like moaning. And when I got to 8, she noticed I was progressing really fast, so she told my mom and my husband, like, you know, you guys need to go eat, go to the cafeteria, go get. An hour passed by, and then I kept like pushing that little button to get more epidural medicine because it was just hurting so bad. But I don't know what was wrong with like the catheter. Something was wrong that I kept pushing the button, and then all of a sudden like it wasn't going through. So I must have been laying on it or something, because like as soon as I, like, the nurse was like making me, like, they say if you turn and then gravity kind of helps it like go on that side, but it was just not helping it for me. So, you know, my mom and my husband came back from eating, and then by the time they came back, I was at a 10. But my daughter was flipped around. So her back and was, like, her head was facing my anus. And so when the baby comes out, they have to be, like, come out in one way. So I was put, like, on the peanut ball, you know, with the epidural. Since I had been a CNA for a while, I didn't want the epidural because I didn't want the catheter in me. But once you get the epidural, you can't get up. The doctor wanted to come and break my water when I was like at a 5. But my water actually broke on its own when I was like a 4.5, and it felt like, it feels like you're peeing, but you can't really control it. My mom thought that once the water broke, the baby didn't have any more oxygen. And so she was like, where's the doctor? Where's the doctor? Like, her birth is gonna, like, there's this thing that they say, like, se te pasa el parto. So that means that, like, a lot of women's children die because their labor, I think it goes, like, too long. I don't know what happens. But they say that basically the baby dies. So my mom was going crazy, and she was just like, where's the doctor? And then the doctor was taking forever. And he got there, but I remember them telling me, like, all right, let's do 2 practice pushes. And I was like, all right. And so I started pushing, and when I started pushing, they're like, oh no, this baby's gonna come out. So they, like, paged the doctor again. They're like, he needs to get here. So he got there, like, within the next 10 minutes. I literally did 2 pushes. I pushed one, she dropped, like, really low. And then I pushed another one, and then she came out. So that was my daughter. She was born March 12th, March 12th, 2018. Born at 10:04 in the morning. My labor was about 7 hours. So for a first time mom, they say on average it's like from 10 to 13 hours, some even longer. So I was within one of the ones that was kind of fast. Fast forward to my son. So I was already past 37 weeks. I actually had kind of like a week that I wanted to get him out. It was like during my 38th, almost 39th week. It was at my 38th week. Because that was my spring break for school. I can't really like miss any days. So, and I had a bunch of hours I needed to make up. So I had just made them up, and I didn't want to make up more. So in my head, I was like, the week of March 20th, this baby has to be out. It doesn't matter if it's like the 20th, the 27th, but he has to be out in that week. Because that was like my spring break week, and I only had 1 week to rest. And my plan was to have the baby, and then as soon as the doctor said I was able to, go back to clinicals, I was able to go back to clinicals. And so all of this, like, coronavirus, quarantine, hit really, really fast. It literally hit a week before I was 36 weeks, and everything just started getting really bad. All the places started closing. We got the order to stay at home. And doctors really want you to wait till 38, 39 weeks. But after 37 weeks, your baby is no longer considered premature, and you're considered long-term, and so you can basically go into labor at any time. and you can take your baby home. There's really no risk to the baby. So I was just, when I turned 37 weeks, I was like, let's go, you know, I need to have this baby. So as I said in my previous video, like for the first time I tried acupuncture. I tried my first session, and I really liked it. It got me a little sore because it was like acupuncture plus acupressure, and then she did do like the electric stimuli. So what it is like they attach like an electric thing to the needles. I didn't go into labor. Then I had my second appointment for acupuncture and acupressure. But this time they went a little stronger. And then I went home. I remember telling my husband, like, don't leave. Like, you know, I'm going to go into labor. And then he ended up leaving to Northern California. That day he came back like the next day, and I remember telling him, like, do not leave again. If you leave again, I'm gonna have this baby. So he ended up leaving, and then that day that he was coming back, so that night I had woke up and I was just having contractions. I knew they were contractions, they were going away, they were coming back, but I was just trying to rest and trying not to put too much thought into it. And so the next morning when he got here, I got up and I was still having contractions. They weren't not consistent. It was like one every like 30 minutes. And so I started washing my dishes. I was just, you know, doing what I had to do. My mom actually worked that night shift. I wanted her to be in the labor with me, but because of the coronavirus, you could only have one person in the delivery room. It really sucked. But, you know, she got to see my first, and I think she was really happy with that. So, you know, my husband came down, and I was just, you know, and it was like, he had fell asleep because he was tired because he came driving. So he had fell asleep, and I was just up washing dishes, just taking care of my little one. And it was like my daughter knew I was in labor, because usually I put her down for nap time around 11:30, 12, and she was just not wanting to go down for nap time. And at this point, like, my contractions started picking up. And I was like, okay, it might be time. I don't know if it's time yet. I was in the bathroom, and, you know, I had to pee. So I was in the bathroom, and even peeing, like, it hurt. So I think, and I started getting the feeling like I really, really had to poop. And I remember getting that with my daughter. So I was sitting on the toilet, and it felt like I was constipated. And my husband hears me, and he wakes up from his, you know, nap, and hears me, and he's like, are you okay? Like, is it time? So I laid down, and when I laid down, like, I could not sleep. And I started timing my contractions. And I kid you not, I timed them for like 20 minutes. But they were coming every 3 minutes. So my app was like, you need to get ready to go to the hospital. So I was like, it might be the day. I call my mom, and I'm like, hey, Mom, you know, I'm getting contractions. She's like, how far apart are they? I'm like, they're 3 minutes. She was like out eating with her friends. And she was like, all right, well, I'm going to come. Do you want me to come pick up your daughter? And I was like, yeah, just in case anything happens. Actually, once I took this clip, I was hopefully, you know, thinking that I was in labor. Hey loves, so I just wanted to come on here and let you guys know that I'm currently contracting about every 3 to 4 minutes. My contractions are getting a little stronger. I have been contracting probably since like 11 a.m. But it was nothing. I actually didn't think it was a real thing, because, you know, I had been getting Braxton Hicks, and it had been like over a week now, so I thought, you know, it was just Braxton Hicks. Hopefully it's the real thing. I don't want to go to the hospital just yet, in case you know, have to be a certain amount of dilation in order to be admitted in the hospital. So right now I'm currently in the shower to make my contractions smooth and easy, you know, make them a little easier. But I'll be updating you guys. Right now they're only letting one person in the delivery room, so that is going to be my baby's dad. But I originally my mom wanted to be in with me, but you know, you can't even swap out. Like, the one person that's you're gonna be, your support person is gonna be the person that's gonna be with you throughout the whole delivery. So I'm really nervous, but I'm kind of excited. It is kind of true that, you know, once you put your mindset that you are gonna have this baby, you're gonna have a baby. So that's what I've been doing. I've just been trying to cope with my contractions. So I'll let you guys know once I'm in the hospital. And so once I took that video, I was like, okay, this hurts. It might be the day. Like, you know, I started to get everything packed. Mind you, I had nothing packed. I was trying to induce my labor, but I didn't know what I was taking to the hospital. I didn't have anything. So I started getting my things together. My mom came, saw me in the shower, and was like, yeah, you're going to have this baby. How far apart are they? I was like, they're 3 minutes. At this time, they were 4 minutes apart. She was like, they're 4 minutes apart. You're going to go to the hospital. My husband was like, don't you have to go when they're 5 minutes apart? And I was like, yeah. But the thing was that I had the mentality that I wanted to labor at home. And at this time, I prepared myself, and I knew it was going to hurt. I was like, I can do this. My body's made for this, and let's go. And so at this time, my mom was like, just go to the hospital right now. Like, what if you have the baby now? You know, with your daughter, you went really fast. You went from 5 to 10 in an hour, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, but I don't think my body's ready. And then at the same time, I was group B negative. So when you're, like I said in the past video, when you're group B positive, they want you to go to the hospital. But I was group B negative, so I could labor at home for as long as I want. I got in the tub, and I was just, you know, laying there for quite some time. And then I got up, and then as soon as I got up, I started, you know, bouncing on my ball. I put some music on. I'm really a lover of reggaeton. So I was putting some reggaeton on, and I was just jamming out. Even if it was like, you know, whatever song it was, I was just jamming out and thinking about that song. Because I didn't want my mind to be on the pain. I wanted my mind to be somewhere else. So I get out of the shower. I start getting ready. I actually straightened my hair. Hey love, so I'm currently still at home. I just did my hair, and I'm gonna go ahead and go to the hospital because these contractions are no joke. Go to the hospital. My husband's with me. They wheel me into labor and delivery, and she asks me, do you want the epidural? And I look at her and I'm like, I do not want the epidural. But if you check me and I'm at a 3, then give me the epidural. So she checks me because I was like, I cannot do this. Like, I'm at the point where this hurts. So she checks me and she's like, mind you, I'm like totally like in the movies, like hyperventilating, which at this time, I know I'm not supposed to do that, but it was just hurting so bad. I'm like hyperventilating. I'm like grabbing onto the side rail, and my eyebrows are like this. And she's like, no, you can do it. You're at a 5. You don't want the epidural? We can have this baby. She's like, but first you gotta drop your eyebrows and let go of the rail. She's like, you need to focus on the ceiling. Focus on your breathing because you're breathing way too fast and you're getting too exhausted. Focus on your breathing, and we can have this baby without an epidural. My nurse was really nice. She asked me, what number baby is this? I was like, it's my second one. She's like, how did your first one go? I was like, I went from 5 to 10 in an hour. When I said that, she did not leave my room. And the thing was that my contractions, like I said, I would get 2 contractions, and then they would like I'd get like 2-minute breaks. But when I would get the 2 big contractions, my baby's heart rate would go down.